Hello, everybody. We are live, we are live, we are live, we are live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good middle of the night, depending on when you are tuning in to watch this. Hello, happy Friday. Oh my gosh, so many things. This past week has been a whirlwind. I feel like I am on a different planet. Like, it is strange, but in the best possible way. There's so much magic happening right now, and it's just, I feel like it's the best time to be going live and talking about something like this, because this year, I feel, is going to be a monumental year in the coaching industry, the coaching space. And if we can put our best foot forward and we can intentionally spend our time on the things that matter, we are going to just absolutely explode onto this space in the best way possible. I'm so excited. Oh my goodness. Hello, hello, good morning. Hello, I'm seeing everybody. Julie, Amy, Annette, Verlay, Janica, Sophia. Oh my god, I'm so excited. So excited. We are talking about, ooh, that was scary. We are talking about how to make big money online with a small audience. So when I started to talk about this masterclass, when I was referring to a small audience, it was 2,000 followers or less. If you have more than 2,000 followers, you may still feel as though you have a small audience. So even if you have 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people, it might still feel like a small following to you. That's why I said anyone who wants to come into this masterclass can come into this masterclass, because even if you have more than 2,000 followers, I'm willing to bet that you will still learn something here today. Now, for those of you who do have a smaller audience, 2,000 or less, let's just imagine for a second that you have 500 followers. Now, this would be 500 followers across all channels, all of your social media, your email lists, like everywhere. 500 people. 500 people can fit in a theater. 500 people can sit in a theater. So imagine a theater, and imagine every single seat in that theater has a human being sitting in it. 500 seats, 500 people. The entire room is full. You have a full house, a packed house. 500 people is a lot of people. And if you have above 500 people, you have a lot of people. Because this online space is showing us different people with tens of thousands and sometimes millions of followers, we think that our audience size of 500, 1,000, 2,000 people is nothing. And it's anything but. It's not only something, but it's actually pretty incredibly large if you think about it. If there's new people coming onto the scene today, they're gonna have 0 followers. And then they're gonna have 1. And then they're gonna have 2. And then they're gonna go 1 at a time, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you're already sitting pretty over here with your 500 plus followers. Like, you are doing pretty phenomenal. But we see these numbers as not good enough because we're comparing our numbers to somebody else's numbers. And that somebody else could have been in business longer than you, could have paid for those followers. Let's not forget that you can pay very little money for followers. I have people that message me on an almost daily basis, on Instagram specifically, and they say, we'll give you 10,000 followers, it's $1,000. And that's on the high end. I've had some that are lower than that, but on average, it's like $1,000 for 10,000 people. You want 100,000 followers? It's 10 grand. 100,000 followers. I could just, like that, have 100,000 followers. Now, obviously, there's some pretty significant downsides to paying for followers. The most important one being that it doesn't actually do anything for you. And people can tell, usually, when you're paying for followers. We can go look at your followers and see that these are all bots, right? So paying for followers doesn't work, but some people will pay for followers to kind of pad their following so that it looks like they have a larger audience than what they already do. Now, I don't know about you, but I would rather have 500 ideal people that are following me, like people who genuinely desire to hear from me, who look forward to my content, who love to buy from me, who buy from me consistently, on repeat, always, 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 always. I would rather have 500 of those people than to have 5,000 or 50,000 and only a handful of them are actually interested in what I have to say. I would rather have a much smaller audience. This came up in the Effortless Email program when I ran that recently, and people were like, you must have a huge email list with the kind of money you're making. And my email list is relatively small for the kind of income that my company generates. My email list has, well, currently it's like just over 6,000, but at the time it was less than that. It was like just over 5,000. Like 6,000 email subscribers for a company that's doing 500 plus in a month, 500,000 in a month. Like, that is not a lot of people. My social media isn't that big either. My Instagram is like, I think it's like 16,000, 17,000 followers or something. That's not a lot for 500,000 cash months. I know people who are making less than $100,000 a month that have like 3, 4, 5 plus times the followers that I do. So the first thing to remember is that it's quality over quantity, always. Yes, big numbers are great, they're fun, they're exciting, and in my personal opinion, I think they do matter to some of your followers. They're gonna see your numbers and be like, oh, she has 10,000 plus followers, she must be pretty good. I think that does play a part, but also if your content is just really freaking good and you have people that are just referred to you all the time from your other followers who are like, follow her, she's really good. Like, then they're not really gonna care so much about how many followers you have. They're gonna be like, wow, it's strange that she only has 500 followers when she's this good. So I think it's great that we want to grow our audience, right? Grow the number of followers we have. I think this is important for sure, and we want to do this, but it's not the most important thing. The most important thing is that we focus on who's already there and making sure that those are the right people. So instead of looking at your audience as numbers, let's look at them as human beings. Let's imagine them in the theater. Let's put some faces on them. So they're not just, oh, there's only I only have 400 followers. No, you have 400 human beings that are genuinely interested in what you have to say, and they look forward to hearing what you have to say. It feels so incredibly different when we look at it this way. It's not the numbers, it's the humans behind the numbers. And when we're showing up online and we want to make more money in our business, but we also want to continually be growing our audience, we have to be really intentional with our time. Because what tends to happen for a lot of people, and this happened for me, is when we have a smaller income or a smaller audience that we want to grow, we tend to just like knuckle down and just really, really, really work hard. And we spend a lot of time working hard. And we're doing 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 because we want to make more money or we want more followers. but are the things that you are spending time on each day actually going to move you forward? Are they actually the most important things that you should be focusing on? Because if so, it shouldn't take you that long. Because there's only a few core things that you're going to want to look at and be improving. So if you're spending hours and hours and hours and hours and hours a day, and you feel as though you're not really getting ahead very much, it's probably because the things that you're spending your time on are the things that aren't exactly necessary for you to be doing, or some of them are necessary for you to be doing, but you're not doing them in the most effective way. I had a woman in one of my programs message me the other day, and she asked about this masterclass, and then the upcoming that's not what it's called now, 5K Months and Beyond, the upcoming program. She's like, should I be in those? She's like, this is where I'm at. She said, I work on my business at least 10 hours a day. I'm posting in Facebook groups, and I'm going live every single day. I'm doing the 365 live challenge. I'm going live. I'm doing my stories. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. And I just remember looking at her list of things that she does, and I'm like, you don't need to do like practically any of that. There's like 2 or 3 things on there that make sense. And the rest of this list is just, it's a waste of time right now. Some of those things are necessary in the future, but not in the building stages. In the building stages, there's only a few things that you need to spend your time on. It blows my mind when people tell me that they are working on their business all day long and they're not seeing any growth. You're not seeing any growth because you're spending your time on the things that don't actually matter, or you're not doing the things that do matter in an effective way that are getting you the results. And the reason that most people are not doing the right things in the most effective way is because they do not have the time or the brain power to do so, because they're doing 75 other things that they think they need to do, but they don't. There are 3 things to focus on. These are the 3 things that I want you to look at for, however much longer, until you get to a point where you're like, okay, I've got the numbers that I want. Now I can add extra things to my list to grow. But before then, there's 3 things, okay? The first thing, and this is the most important thing of all, and it's the thing that is most often overlooked, is clarity. Now, this is most often overlooked because we don't think we need to do it. We're like, well, of course I'm clear. Of course I know who my ideal client is. Of course I know. Do you though? Do you really though? Do you know them like the back of your hand? Like you are so 100% certain that you could pick them out of a crowd? If there's a crowd of 1,000 people, could you identify your ideal client based on look alone? If not, then you don't really have clarity, because your ideal clients would stick out like a sore thumb in a large audience. You could identify them like nothing else, fast. And it's not just clarity on who your ideal client is, it's clarity on who you are. Clarity on what your work is, what your message is, what your mission is. Clarity on what the heck you even want to be doing in your business. What kind of business is this? Why is this the kind of business that you desire to have? What do you want your business to look like over time? Do you know where you want to be in the next 6, 12 months? Do you know where you want to be in the next 3, 4, 5 years? You don't have to plan how to get there necessarily, but you have to know where you're headed so that you can walk in the right direction and spend your time on the things that are actually going to move you forward in that direction. So when we speak of clarity, it's the clarity around what am I doing, why do I want to do it, and who do I want to do it with, right? Your ideal clients. Who are your ideal clients? Who are they? Do you really know? You don't have to know, like is it male or female? What age range are they in? Do they have kids? What are their kids' names? What's their little dog's name? What car do they drive? Like, you don't need to know those specifics necessarily, but you have to know who they are as a human being. Who are your ideal clients as a human being? Whenever I do ideal client work and I think about who my dreamy soulmate ideal clients are, it's never, well, it's this kind of woman who has brown hair and she's about 5'8" and she does this. It's never those things. I don't even consider them at all. What I think about instead is, what's her personality like? What are her beliefs? What are her big dreams and her desires? My ideal clients are, Victoria, I love you. My ideal clients are the kind of women who don't back down from a challenge. They're the kind of women who keep moving forward, who have bigger dreams on top of bigger dreams, like who are not satisfied. They're grateful, but they're never satisfied. Like they're always moving forward to their next level. My ideal clients are self-led women who don't need me to baby them. They don't need any hand-holding. They're the kind of women who honor their commitments, who honor their word, the kind of women who move fast, who don't sit and think about doing something for 6 weeks. They just decide and then they go, like they move. They actually make the moves. Like, I'm clear on these types of things. So when I'm creating content and offers and things like that, I know exactly who I'm speaking to. Because I know who they are. I may not know what they look like or how old they are or where they live in the world or what kind of car they drive, but I know who they are as a human being. I know who they are as a human being. And this allows me to speak to them so clearly when I'm actually showing up in my content. Because it's like I'm speaking to their heart. I'm speaking to their soul. I'm not speaking to their ego. I'm not speaking to the things they already know about themselves. I'm speaking to just who they are inside. And I'm connecting with that in my own way, like my own connection to them. So the first piece that we want to look at is the actual clarity. What is your business about? Why is it about this? Why is this your big thing, your big dream, your big desire? What is the message that you're here to share in the world? What's your mission for the work that you're doing in the world? Who are these people that you're speaking to? Who is it that you're really desiring to attract into your field? What is it that you really want to say to them? What is it that you really want them to understand when they hear you speak? So clarity is the first piece. The second thing is connection. Once we have clarity around who the heck we're actually talking to, then we go into the connection piece so that we can actually connect with these people that we're calling in. This is where, with our content, we really want to go narrow as opposed to wide. So we don't want to have just like generic kind of content that would resonate with everybody, right? So using myself as an example, I obviously lead my clients through scaling their business. We talk a lot about money and sales. Like these are the two things that I talk about with my clients more than anything else is money and sales. So if I were to do a piece of content on money and it was simply around the fact that you want to make a lot of money. Everybody wants to make a lot of money. Everybody wants to make, nobody's going to say no thank you to a lot of money. So if I'm writing a piece of content and I'm speaking to the fact that you want to make a lot of money, I'm speaking to almost every single human being on planet Earth. That's way too wide of a net. way too wide. I don't want to speak to everybody. It's tempting to feel like speaking to everybody is a good idea, because if you speak to everybody, then the chances of somebody actually resonating and then coming into your world and following you and then buying from you is so much higher. But that's not actually the truth. It's a belief, but it's not the truth. You can have tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of followers and be making next to nothing in your business. Because the people who are following you, they may have resonated with one thing that you posted, but the rest of the things you're sharing don't resonate. There's no connection there. They're like, I want to make more money, but I don't want to do it that way, the way you're telling me to do it. Yeah, I want to make more money, but I don't want to have to change my mindset around money. That's too much work. I'm not open to that. Yeah, I want to make more money, but what, you mean I have to heal my money traumas? No thanks, you weird freak. I'm not talking about money traumas. What? No, thank you. You're weird. Just tell me how to make more money. What am I gonna do? Like, you're not connecting with them. You're speaking to one very vague desire that they have. So with our content, when we make it a lot more narrow, we're actually speaking to a specific piece of the wide topic. So if I'm talking about sales, instead of saying you want to make more sales in your business, well, duh, whoever has a business wants to make more sales in their business. way too, wide, right? To narrow that, it could be something like, you are desiring to sell more higher ticket masterminds. Or masterminds or private coaching. You're desiring to sell more higher ticket offers without doing tons of live content every day. You want to sell higher ticket offers and you want people to pay in full, and you don't want to have to go live every single day to talk about the offer. Like, that is much more narrow, right? Like, that's very specific. There's going to be some people who want more sales in their business, but they don't really care about high ticket sales. They don't really resonate with that. They don't really care about that. Or they want high ticket sales, but they actually love going live every single day. So they're not going to resonate. So it's speaking to a very, very targeted audience. My way that I like to speak in my content and with my offers is, I imagine that there's a small handful of people, like 5 people, who when I say something, like, they are just beyond themselves, can't control themselves. They're like, holy crap, are you in my brain? What is going on? This is perfect. Like, how do you know this exact thing about me? And their jaw has dropped and they're shocked at how perfect it is for them. I imagine a very, very, very small number of people. And then people, there's obviously way more people than that, but I like to imagine a very small number, like 5 people or less, because it makes it easier for me to go extremely narrow. I don't believe that there is such a thing as too narrow. I don't think you can go too narrow. I think you can go too wide more than anything else. So the more narrow you can get with the kind of content that you're sharing, the more of those perfect ideal clients you're going to be calling in. And you may do this a little like differently depending on what you're talking about, or if there's a certain offer you're selling. Like, for example, this masterclass was not meant to be for every single person in my audience. The people who have 5, 10 plus thousand followers, they don't want this masterclass. They don't need this masterclass. But anyone who is less than just a couple thousand, it's very specifically just for them, right? It's just for those who have a small audience and want to make more money. They want to monetize a smaller audience. This offer is very narrow. An offer on you want to make more sales is very wide. So it's not just your offers, but it's also the actual content that you're sharing on a regular basis. The topics that you're speaking to in your content. Make them narrow. Speak to a very targeted group of people. You'll get a better response. And you'll also find that more people start to follow you that are ideal people. Because when they come and find your social media, they see you, they see your post, and they're like, oh my gosh, it's like she's talking to me. It's so specific. Give me all your money traumas. I love helping heal them. Desiring to sell higher ticket packages. It's definitely different than how I've been doing business in the past. Yeah. And anytime something is different, it's going to feel like we're just stumbling through it for a little while. And that's how we learn. That's how we grow. So you're in the wobbly stage right now where you're fumbling over things. Eventually, you're going to be selling high ticket packages like nothing else. Like the easiest thing, you sell a high ticket package before breakfast, and it's like the easiest, most obvious thing ever. But it's always wobbly on the way there. So we create content that speaks about your people, your target audience, your ideal clients, and we create content that speaks to them. So content that's about them and content that speaks directly to them. The content that, about them is the content where it's like you help them to self-identify. So they stumble across your profile and you're talking about them, and they're reading your content or listening to your content and hearing your content, and they're saying, oh my gosh, that's me. This sounds exactly like what I'm going through right now. That sounds exactly like what I'm dealing with right now. That's exactly what I've been wanting for so long now. That's me. That's exactly what I do. I do that all the time. That sounds just like me. You want them to self-identify. Because when they self-identify, they know this is a space for me because this person is speaking to me. They feel as though you are speaking directly to them, one-on-one. And they will hit that follow button faster than they've ever hit a follow button before when they feel that you know who they are, you understand them. They want to know that they are understood. There's a lot of people online that we could follow. A lot of people that we could follow. A lot of people who do the same exact thing that we do, possibly even in the same exact way that we do it. And both of us can be successful. Both of us can be successful because we're speaking to about them, to who they are, but who they ultimately decide they want to follow, and they may choose both, but usually some will choose one person, and it's who they resonate with the most. So if you can make it really clear to them, this is who you are basically, and I know who you are, and I get you, I understand you, then you're going to be able to build a more genuine connection with them because there's a feeling of trust there. They trust that they're in the right place. They trust that they're in safe hands because you know who they are and you know exactly what they're thinking. You know exactly what they're feeling. You know exactly what they're struggling with. You know exactly what they're desiring. Like, you get them. You get them. It's like when you have a long-term partner or a best friend, and it's like you can always go to that person because you know that they got you. They understand you. They know who you are. They know all of your flaws. They know all of your stories. They know all of your desires. They know all of your fears. They know all of your resistance. They know all of you. And so you feel safer with them because they get you. Your audience wants to feel that way when they find you online. Do I trust this person? Do I feel safe with this person? Do they get me? Do they understand me? Yes? Okay, follow. And then when you're speaking, to them, this is with the way that I have found this to work the best is the stories content and the potentiality content. So stories content is basically you're telling your stories, right? And your stories are going to resonate with them because they're either similar to what their stories are, or your story is a desire for them. They want that to be their story. So your story of why you started your business, your story of a certain fear that you have and possibly how you actually got through that and overcame that fear. Your stories of your journey, the journey from then to now, the journey from now to where you're going, the journey, letting them in on the journey. and connecting it back to them, because their journey is either similar to your journey, or the journey that they desire to have is the journey that you have already had or are currently having. And the potentiality content is basically showing them what is potential. So this, you could also call this like inspirational, aspirational type content, where you're speaking around your own results and your own experience or experiences, your own lifestyle, and it's something that just inspires them and moves them. It's telling a story of, you know, an outcome that you've achieved doing the thing that you do that you also help them with. So for me, that would be something like freedom, just general lifestyle freedom, time freedom, financial freedom. It could be a specific money result, like celebrating X number of dollars in this week, this month, today. Like that's going to be potentiality content, because it's showing them what's possible. It's possible for them because they're just like you. They're just like you. That's why they're following you, because they see themselves in you. They see themselves in you. So they resonate. It clicks for them. Everything you say clicks for them, because you are them. They are you. You are one and the same. And when you share your stories, your outcomes, and not even just yours, but you can also share your own clients, like celebrating your own clients is also potentiality content, because it's showing them what's potential when they work with you. My client just had this kind of result, and you're celebrating your client. They're going to see that and they're like, well, if she can help her client with that, that's one client can do that, I can do that, right? It shows them what is potential. Your results and your clients, your current clients or past client results. So the content where, you know, you're very narrow and you're speaking to a very specific type of person, and the content where you're speaking about the person, like basically just reaffirming who they are to them, and then also the content that's speaking like to them through stories and potentiality content, showing them what's possible. This is the connection piece. This is where now they don't just know who you are, but they actually really like you and they trust you and they're inspired by you, they're motivated by you. They feel something. They feel something that lights them up inside when they follow you, when they read your content, when they see your posts, your stories, whatever you're sharing. They feel lit up inside. They feel heard, they feel understood, they feel seen, and they feel that connection and that trust and that likability. So clarity, we want clarity, we want connection. And then the third piece is cash. Clarity, connection, cash. And cash is your offers. Cash is you actually, you know, creating your offers, selling your offers. It's giving people an opportunity to come into your world and pay you, to be in closer proximity and to get more learning and understanding and access and proximity than they would just from your free content. So if you're posting something online, for example, a free piece of content on Instagram, they're going to get something completely different if they're in your paid course, your paid program, right? It's going to be completely different. So the sales piece, the offer / sales piece, is where the cash actually comes in your business. It's where you're actually able to make big money with a small audience. If you have a small audience, first of all, you can sell whatever you want to sell. But what I have found to be the most successful, my own journey of this, because when I first started, my first year in business was a all right, there we go. So I was saying, so my first year in business was a $250,000 cash year. And this was with an audience of 0 to begin with, because I was brand new to the coaching space. And my audience grew, of course, over the year, but it grew pretty slowly that first year. So I didn't really have a ton of followers, and yet I still had a multiple 6-figure year. The kind of offers that I sold, that I focused on more than anything else, was the mid-tier and the higher ticket kind of offers. You can have the lower ticket offers if you want to, the entry level, the lower ticket, like below 100 and up to like maybe a couple $100s. And you can make a lot of money doing that, but usually you're gonna need to have a larger audience, right? You can't sell a $50 or even $100, to make the math easy on me, $100 masterclass, even if you sold it to every single person on your list or your social media followers. Let me pull up the calculator because I don't want to get the number wrong. I know it's such basic math, but it's bad. 5,000 followers, or not 5,000, sorry, 500 times $100 class is $50,000. So you can do a $50,000 month every month, but the chances of every single one of your followers buying that thing from you is slim to none, right? I'm not gonna say it's impossible, but it's pretty close to impossible. It's very unlikely that every single one of your followers will buy. So with higher ticket and mid-tier offers, you only need a handful of people to buy to have a $50,000 month. If you have a $5,000 offer, you only need 10 people to buy it, and you have $50,000. And that's from one offer, $50,000. Even with 5 people, that's $25,000. $25,000, 5 people. That's pretty damn good, right? That's pretty damn good. And you'll have other offers on top of that. It's not like we're just focusing on one course, like specific offer, and then you can't sell anything else. If you know anything about me, you know that selling multiple things at once is something that I recommend to almost everyone. Whether you're brand new or not, having multiple different ways that people can buy from you, multiple different income streams, multiple different offer types, you're going to have more sales. Oh my gosh, okay, I'm like coughing up a storm here. Okay, so with your mid-tier and your higher ticket, what you want to do is think about your business as like a boutique grocery store, right? A boutique grocery store. You know, you go to those grocery stores and it's like, here's, I don't know, like a loaf of bread that's normally $3 at my regular grocery store. You go to this boutique grocery store and it's like $6.99. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Yet these boutique grocery stores stay in business. They don't go anywhere. People still go there. People still buy from them. Some people like the boutique feel. They just want to go to the boutique store. They don't want to go to the regular grocery store. They want the boutique. Right? You can, buy a sweater at Walmart for 20 bucks, and you can buy a sweater at Gucci for like $1,000, right? $20, $1,000. It's still a sweater. It's just gonna keep me warm. One might be better quality, it might look better, but it's still just gonna keep me warm. A loaf of bread is just gonna fill my belly. It's still just a loaf of bread. Why would I pay more for one when I can get it cheaper elsewhere? Because I desire the higher end. I desire the boutique feel, the boutique experience. And eventually, as your audience grows, you can add in more of the lower ticket offers if you want to, and have more offers that are, a few $100s or less. And eventually you'll have lots of people who come into those. When I used to do master classes, like $100-ish master classes, I started with like 10 people, and then it increased to 20 people, then it increased to 30 people, and eventually it grows to like 100 plus. But it took a while to get here. And I'm not going to focus on just selling a $100 masterclass to my audience of like 20 people, and then 200 people, and then 2,000 people, because it's not enough to actually make the kind of money I want to make in my business. So having some mid-tier, like 1,000 plus offers, and some higher ticket, which is more in my opinion, like 10,000 plus, then you're going to be able to make way more money that way, because you only need a handful of people to buy the mid-tier and the higher ticket offers to have a relatively high cash month. And then you stack those offer types on top of the lower ticket style offers. And then your income grows and grows and grows and grows and grows from there. So the more opportunities that you have to buy, the more things people will buy. The more opportunities you have to buy, the more things that people will buy. But also, the more ways in which you sell the things, the more money you will make, because people will be given the option to buy something from you at every turn. There's always something available. There's always something that's new. There's always something that can support them in some way. But we want to focus on first, until you build up your business to whatever you want it to be per month to start, focus on the mid-tier and the higher ticket price point offers first. Once you hit that number and you're consistently there for a few months, then you can add in some of the lower ticket stuff. Just to make it easier to actually hit that number. You don't need as many people, and that's what we want to focus on, because you don't have a lot of people yet, but eventually you will. And when you do, then you add in the lower ticket. You also want to remember that when people buy, some people will buy immediately and some people will consume first. Most people are going to consume first. They're going to find you online, they're going to see all your stuff, and they're going to read. And they're going to hit follow. And they're going to see your stuff every day, and they're going to read. They're going to watch. And they're going to listen. They're going to consume. And eventually, at some point, something will just click in them, and they'll say, I'm going to buy that. I'm going to message her. I'm going to ask her about coaching. I'm going to ask her about this. I'm going to jump into that. But we're constantly showing up. We're constantly creating content, right? That's actually speaking to them, the captivating content that's going to suck them in and be like, oh my gosh, she's speaking to me. We're going to create that consistently. But we're also going to sell, even if no one's buying yet, or very few people are buying yet. We're still going to sell, because eventually someone will buy. But they're not going to buy if they don't know what they can buy, because you're not talking about what they can buy. So we have to give them options. We have to show them what's available. And we have to talk about what's available often. And some people are going to consume, and then one day, boom, I'm going to jump into that. I'm going to buy that. Thank you. And you're like, whoa, where did you come from? Right? They just come out of nowhere. And they want to buy all the things. And then once they buy again, they buy again, they buy again. And then you have a client who's basically buying from you all the time, all the things. But first it starts with their consumption. They consume your content first. And then there's also a small subset of your audience that's going to buy immediately. There's something about the way that you present yourself online. This is the clarity piece, why it's so important. And the content piece, the connection piece. And they are going to be so captivated by you that they want to buy from you. It's your vibe that sells more than anything else. They're captivated by the vibe. They're captivated by the energy. The number of people who message me now on like an almost daily basis, before it would happen like every so often, like maybe once a month. Now it's almost every single day. There's at least one person who will message me and say, I just found you today, or I just found you yesterday, and I signed up for the Inner Circle, which is a year-long commitment, year-long all of my programs, or I just jumped into this like program or whatever the thing is I'm selling. I just found you today. I don't know what it is about you, but I know I need to be around you. Or I just love your vibe. I love your energy and your content. I just knew right away I had to work with you. I've had private clients come in and do that as well, message me out of nowhere like, hey, do you have any spaces for one-on-one? I'd like to do some one-on-one with you. What? Who are you? Who are you? I just found you this morning. What? I would like to pay you for 3 months of private coaching, $45,000 paid in full. Can I have the link, please? I'd like to pay now. What? And this is your captivating essence. It's who you are underneath it all. The content matters, yes. The languaging, the messaging you're using, it all matters. But it doesn't matter more than your own vibration, who you actually are at the core, and letting that come through. People feel that. And people buy, most people buy based on emotions, not based on logic, not, I think I would like this program, and it's telling me that it's going to teach me X, Y, and Z, and I think if I apply it like this, and maybe I spend this much time, and by May 17th around 2 p.m., I will be just a master. Okay, I'll buy it. That makes sense. Logically, I think this makes sense, so I'm going to do it. No. Most people, I say most because I know there's the exception to every rule, and there's probably some person out there who will buy like this, but most people buy based on emotion. They feel something. They read something that you write and they feel something and they're like, I need to work with her. They feel something and they're like, I need to be in a program with her. I need to do this mastermind with her. I need to jump into private coaching. I need to do this. There's something about her. I just feel good in her energy. A lot of people buy this way. So if we are being super, like rigid in how we're showing up, and it's very like logical and methodical, it's not creating this connection with people because there's no emotion behind it. It's just, you're like a robot. We don't vibe with robots. There's no connection with a robot. There's no energy exchange with a robot. Only with another human. So it's not just about, I'm going to show up online and I'm going to post my content, I'm going to teach people things, and I'm going to show them that I know what I'm doing and I can help them. That's a small part of it. It's a part of it, but it's a small part of it. The bigger part, the most important part, is that they actually feel you. And the things that you're saying resonates with them in such a profound way that they cannot look away. They're captivated. They're absolutely captivated by who you are and the way you present yourself to the world. And that is often enough to be like, take my money. Take my money. I don't care what it costs. Take my money. I need to be near you. The first time this ever happened for me that I recognized anyway was when I hired my energy coach, which was back in 2020. And I messaged her, I found her on Instagram, and it was like 2 or 3 days later where I'm like, I don't know this person, but she makes me feel some kind of way. I don't care what it is, I need to pay her. I need close proximity. I don't want to be in a program, I don't want to do anything small. Like, how much does it cost to be your one-on-one client? And I messaged her and I asked her this, and she told me, like a few minutes later, I'd already paid her. She's like, it's $7,777 a month for 3 months. I'm like, cool, send me the link. And I'm hyperventilating because it's like, oh my gosh, $7,777 a month. Oh my God, what am I doing? I don't even know this person. This is insane. In Canadian dollars, because I'm in Canada, she's in the US. Well, she's charging in US dollars. It's like $10,000. It's like $10,000 a month. I just commit to $30,000 for 3 months to talk to a stranger on the internet. What the hell is going on? And it was a little terrifying. It was exciting, but very terrifying at the same time. And it was all because of the energy that I felt from her through her content. It's the same reason that I work with my coach now. I work with Melanie now. It's like I have access to like a rolling boxer, but I also have access to 4 hours of calls a month. 4 hours of calls. I've been working with her for months now, one-on-one. I was with her in a mastermind for a year. In one-on-one, I've had 0 calls. And I don't even really go in the boxer that much, and if I do, it's usually just to celebrate. Because I don't need her. I don't need her. And I don't need her to teach me things, usually. Sometimes there's stuff that she'll teach me. But it's more so, I feel a certain way when I'm in close proximity to her that I'm willing to pay a lot of money just for that. And there's people in your audience who are willing to do the same. You just don't know them yet. Or maybe you do know them, but you don't know that they're feeling this pull, this nudge to get into close proximity with you, just because of how your energy is coming through on the screen to them. So when we're focused on cash, we're focused on selling, but we're focused on selling in a way that's, more emotional selling as opposed to logical selling. Logical selling makes sense. Like we want to focus on that too. We want to be strategic and intentional with the way that we sell. But if it's too masculine and it's too robotic, then there's no emotion that's coming through, and people buy based on emotion, or at least based on emotion first before they go into logic. How are you working with your energy? Well, for me, it's more just about how I'm feeling, and then what I'm choosing to do with how I'm feeling. So if I'm feeling, let's say, I can't even think of a word, excited. If I'm feeling really excited about anything, doesn't matter what it is, that is my favorite time to create content and sell something. Even if my excitement is not related to the thing I'm writing about or selling, because my excitement comes through. And people pick up on that energy. They pick up on the excitement, and it activates excitement in them. So if there's a feeling that is a feeling I don't want to kind of send out there to my audience, then I'll go do something to hopefully shift it. So if I'm feeling scared, I'm not going to go post an offer if I'm feeling scared. Because that scared feeling, that anxious kind of scared feeling, is going to be coming through in my energy when I'm selling. I don't want the person on the other end of my content to feel scared when I'm talking about my offer. That's not what I want. So it's just being aware of my energy and using it effectively. Okay, and now the last thing that I will say, and if there's any questions, you guys are welcome to ask me questions. I don't have that much time left because I do have something very exciting happening after this. But if you have questions, I can probably answer a couple of questions, so you can put them in if you have some. The excitement doesn't have to be related to my business. No, it does not. So what was I going to say? The last thing, yes, is around long-term growth. Now, we obviously want to grow the audience, right? We're happy, we're grateful with our mini audience, but we're thinking long-term, and long-term, we want to grow it. We want to have more and more people. What you want to do here is be intentional with the way that you're growing it. Making sure that you're not growing it too fast just because you want bigger numbers. Because if you do it this way, you are likely to actually attract the wrong people into your space. So then you may have a larger audience, but it's a non-ideal audience, which isn't actually going to serve you in your business anyway. So one step at a time, one person at a time, one follower at a time. And it's consistency with the way that you're showing up. Consistency with cross-promoting your social media channels. Consistency with promoting your email list. Consistency with the content that you're sharing. Consistency with your offers. Consistency with how often you're showing up. Consistency with your messaging. Consistency. It's so irritating of a word, I know, when people are like, just be consistent and you'll be fine. It's true. It's true. I'm sorry. It's true. There is no secret here. There's no magic bullet. There's no special little pill that you can take and all of a sudden everything is just wild and crazy and you're overly abundant and it's like boom overnight. It's consistency over time. I've been building my coaching business since 2015. You have to build over time. This is not something that's just going to be like, snap my fingers and now I have 1 million followers and I'm making like $10 million a year. It's tempting to kind of go that route and be like, oh, I'm going to go big, I'm going to go fast, I'm going to go hard. But you will burn out. Don't ask me how I know. You will burn out. And it is so much more effective to just focus on growth as opposed to focusing on very fast growth. You will eventually get to a point where it's like right now you're kind of a little bit up. You're not right at the bottom, but you're a little bit up the hill and you're pushing this snowball, right? And you're pushing the snowball and you're pushing it. And you're just a little bit more, a little bit more. And then eventually at some point, and this point is going to be different for everyone, eventually you will get to the top of the hill. You can breathe because you're freaking exhausted. You can breathe, and then you get to go boop and push the snowball, and then it goes down the hill, and it's bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and faster and faster and faster and faster. This will happen, but it's slow growth first. Then you have a big. It's never going to be just, I'm up the hill, I'm down the hill, boop, 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 boop. No. It's not like that for any of us. We all start at the bottom of the hill. We all gradually make our way up the hill, bit by bit by bit by bit. And then we all, if we continue to be consistent and we hold the faith and we trust and we believe, then we get to the top of the hill and we get to push the snowball and it rolls down. And then all of a sudden you're making money and you have clients coming out of nowhere and you're like, holy crap, what on earth is going on? The money is coming in like lightning speed. I don't understand what's happening. It's because you were consistent. It's because you kept going even when it felt like it wasn't working, it wasn't doing anything. You kept going even though it felt difficult. You kept going even though it seemed as though everyone around you was getting bigger and bigger and faster and you were just staying the same or going backwards, and you kept moving anyway. You kept moving anyway. You kept putting the content out. You kept putting your offers out. Even if no one was engaging, even if no one was buying, you kept going, you kept refining, you kept getting better and better and better and more understanding of who you're speaking to, how you're speaking to them, what you're offering them, how you're selling. You're constantly investing in yourself and learning and getting mentorship and all the things. Eventually, you get to the top of the hill with the snowball and you get to push it to the other side. And then everything picks up. But most people don't get to the top of the hill because eventually they get so tired and they're like, I can't keep pushing this snowball anymore. And they move out of the way and they let the snowball roll back down. All the way back down to the bottom of the hill. Now they have to start all over again if they want to try. It's like we move. And it's slow at the beginning and it's frustrating at the beginning because it's slow. But we keep moving, we build the momentum, and then it's a little bit easier, and it's a little bit easier, it's easier, and then you get to the top and you push it over, then boom. Then it starts to actually feel easy and wild and crazy and like, holy crap, I did it. And it's bigger and better than I ever could have imagined it would be because I didn't give up. I continued to be consistent with it. I continued to move. I continued to, no matter what was going on, I continued. The consistency is the number one thing that you can do. The number one thing that you could do. So incredibly important to not give up. And there will be moments where it's very tempting to give up. Don't give up. Keep moving. And know that you can make a lot of money with a small audience. You do not need to have a massive audience to make incredible money. There's a lot of people with a big following that's not making that much money. And there's a lot of people who have a very small, seemingly small audience that are making millions of dollars a year. Millions of dollars a year with a relatively small audience. And then there's people who have like 10, 100 times what that person has and they're making less than 6 figures a year. Focus on the human beings, don't focus on the numbers themselves. Continue to be consistent, continue to show up, be intentional with your content, intentional with the things that you're sharing and selling. Understand your audience, understand who it is you're trying to call in so that you create content that attracts these types of people and consistently keep showing up. And eventually you will get to the point where it clicks and where you're on the other side of that hill and you're rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling. Audience size has no correlation to income. Yes, very true. On the connection piece, you shared what to focus on when sharing in stories. What do you suggest for posts? The same thing. But I mean, I was talking about more stories, like actual telling of stories. And you can share those stories on your stories or in your posts. It's just like storytelling. I made that mistake once, now clearing it all out and cleaning up my audience to call in only the ones who want to play full out. Exactly. I would rather have a group of like 10 people who are just like 100% soulmate, ideal people, and we just have a blast together, than to have a group of 50 people and it's like, I can't stand these people. They are not like me at all. This is actually annoying. Like, I would rather have 5 perfect people than 50 just okay or like not so great people, right? Do you have tips on a structure of creating higher and mid-level offers? I think that the thing that I would look at more than anything else is just the actual price. Not necessarily the structure of like what is the offer, because you know what I deem a $5,000 offer might be different than what you would price at $5,000, right? What I charge $5,000 for, you might charge $2,000 for or $10,000 for. So it's more so what is the price that you're focusing on, more than what the actual structure of the offer is, because that doesn't matter as much. And what I would do actually is focus on the offer first, then price it. Then say, okay, what's the price for this? Then to do it the other way. Because then you're creating an offer based on, I think this is what people will pay, or this is what I want people to pay, as opposed to the true aligned pricing for that offer. Okay, I'm losing the comments for some reason. Where did we go? Okay, I feel like many people want to buy my offers, like I want to work with you, but I don't have a full yes. So it's like then our content, we kind of need to speak to something that activates them. Like you want to create more of the activating content that's going to speak to their desire to move. The way you did it was brilliant, Cassie. Thanks, Victoria. For your one-on-one coaching, do you follow a structure and then customize it? No, I do not. I thought you were going to say the snowball rolls back on you. No. Will this video be on YouTube? It's easier to understand with the translation. Yes, it will. We will have it with the subtitles. I had this belief that without an audience, there were no sales. Well, without an audience, there's no sales, yes, but you don't have to have a huge audience to have sales. If you have no audience, then yes. But even just having like 10 people in your audience, as long as they're the ideal people to be in your audience, you can make sales. How can I be sure that my audience is the right one, and how to find the right audience? Well, you know it's the right audience if they're actually engaging with what you're sharing and they're buying from you. That's how you know it's the right audience. And then how to find the right audience is, like I was saying before, like just speak to them in your content. This is your messaging piece, your content piece, your connection piece, where you're actually speaking to the heart and soul of your ideal client. That was so me my first year in coaching. I had tons of people in my group and following, but I was not making even 10K a month. Audience size doesn't mean anything. Yippers. Can you give an example of activation content? So for myself, for example, if I were to do this, my favorite way to do it is I like to speak about investments, investing in yourself specifically. This is such a huge belief of mine, and it's something that I feel really, really strongly about. So I tend to use this one a lot, where in my content, I will say something like, you know, success lies on the other side of your investment, which I believe is true. It's always terrifying to invest in yourself, but as long as there's excitement there, then it's time to make the move. Like, stop sitting on the sidelines, stop waiting until the perfect time, actually make the move and see what's on the other side of it. Like, I like to speak to it that way. So it's, what do you want them to do? What do you feel as though they need to do in order to get this certain experience that they're saying they desire to have? And how can you motivate them, activate them into doing what is actually required? You're welcome. How to sell if it's network marketing, sell products or lifestyle. With network marketing, yeah, it's more the lifestyle more than anything else, like tying the products in with the lifestyle. So if you're selling like essential oils, for example, you're talking about how you use essential oils in your entire life. Like, what do you use your essential oils for? Like, that's part of the content. You're welcome, Carrie. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, amazing.